So what is a disciple? Disciple is a word we kind of throw around a lot in the church. It comes from the Greek word, the same word as student or apprentice. Maybe that would be a better way to say it. It's being a student or an apprentice. And student itself, that might be less what we want, because sometimes when we think of student, we think of sitting in a classroom and being like bored out of our mind, trying to listen to things, and it's just a one-way street. We listen and we get homework. But apprentice might be a better way to think about it, because a disciple is like an apprentice, where they're trying to learn the way of the master, right? There's someone who is really good at something, and they're teaching the way that they do it to the next generation. So let's say you were an apprentice learning how to make guitars, right? You found a guitar making master, and you wanted to learn how to do it just like he did. Well, what would you do? You would watch him at work. You would listen to what he said, take it seriously. You would do the things he told you to do. You would familiarize yourself with the tools that he used, how he shapes the wood, how he builds the neck, how he frames the body of these guitars, how he keeps it all together. And then you would start doing things the exact same way that he did them. I mean, if you're learning from a master, you're hoping to be a master someday yourself. So you're trying to do things the way that a master does it. That's what you get first-hand experience with when you're apprenticing. So that's what we try to do with Jesus. That's what we want to do with Jesus. We want to learn from the master. We think that Jesus is the master of life. We think that he did everything better than every other person who ever lived, and that his way is the way of joy and peace, and that he's actually our Savior, and that we can have a relationship with God with him, which is a relationship with God is one of the deepest, if not the deepest, longing in the life and the soul of every single person. And we think that if every single person lived like Jesus, that the world would be a better place. I think that if your life was modeled after Jesus, if you started living just like Jesus did, now you don't have to be a traveling preacher, but if you started taking the words of Jesus seriously and apply them to your lives and actually lived it out, being loving, joyful, compassionate, caring for others, in those ways, your life would be immensely better. I know that I'm the happiest with the areas of my life that are modeled after Jesus. And I've got a ways to go, but I'm trying to learn from the master as I go. And I learn by filling myself up with his teachings. We've got the Gospels, we've got the Bible, which is full of things that he said, but also things that his followers have said. So it's great, incredible wisdom for us today. And some people get this confused. They think that, being a disciple of Jesus means that I show up to church on Sundays. And showing up to church on Sundays is really good. It's actually 100% necessary and important for your life. But Jesus sort of had some harsh words to say for people who did certain things just to make themselves look holier. He called them whitewashed tombs. It's like if a tomb that held a bunch of corpses was, the outside was painted white. He said, out on the outside you're beautiful, but on the inside you're full of death. Oh, that's so harsh, Jesus. That's intense. God doesn't just care about what you present to the world. God cares about the inside. God cares about the things going on in your heart, what's driving you, what's filling you up. And so we can fill ourselves up with a lot of things, but if we want our lives to look like Jesus' life, then we need to fill ourselves up with more and more of Jesus. That's what being a disciple is. That's what being an apprentice is. That's what being a student is. And so we at Way City, we're committed to helping you become a disciple, as I learned how to be a better disciple, as all of our leaders learn how to be better disciples. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to make happen. And that's what we want to see change the world, or at least help change our community.